Welcome back to another episode of the Adventures of a Disney Dad podcast. Matt and Chip are here, and we've got a special guest. It's been a while since we've had a guest on the show. Dapper Danielle, welcome. We are so excited to have you.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
We're excited to have you.
Yeah, and we've got something fun to celebrate. Your book, it's releasing next week, but by the time this episode comes out, it'll have been out for 2 days. Danielle, give everybody just kind of a brief background on when your book comes out. And I've got a copy right here for those watching on YouTube. I love Disney's Magic Kingdom. I had a chance to read the whole thing, so I'm really enjoying it.
Thank you. But yes, it is called I Love Disney's Magic Kingdom. It is going to be the first of a series. And there are some of our friends are currently working on a Disneyland version for the series. And I can neither confirm nor deny that I might be working on the next Florida park. Wink, wink.
Oh.
And currently in the process of maybe writing that. But this is really, it's broken down into fun bite-sized pieces of, it's not your typical travel guide. It has some random Disney things in the middle of the book that you probably don't care about, but I'm going to tell you anyway. And I don't know. It's so fun. I feel like it's been in pre-release for so long. I've been talking about this since January of this year, but really the book releases on May 13th. And then my first signing at the Barnes & Noble is actually going to be today. If you're listening to this podcast, you're in the local Orlando area, check my link tree. It might be still some spots available. But it's going to be right over there in the Dr. Phillips area, just in between Disney World property and Universal property will be the first signing, but more to come. And the overall response for this book has been amazing, overwhelming, nauseating, all the things.
So I think that that's the best thing that I would recognize about the book is that it's not a travel guide. I think you putting that out there, I think is really great. To me, it's like a travel companion is the way I would have described it. Like it's fun to read it and get a little bit more history about the parks and the areas that you're going to explore. A few little tidbits here and there that are park tips. And I think that that's what keeps it fun. For those of you that have not seen Danielle's content online, she is known for the random things in the middle of the night. And she pops in and she gives these fun little tidbits. And I think that it's an interesting way to present Disney content that you don't see elsewhere, which I think makes it a lot of fun.
Thank you.
And I'm a teacher, so I like the history side of it. I'm nerding out about the history. That we're nerds.
You know, I think what really circles back to our listeners, because this is a planning podcast. I'm a travel agent also, and our blog is focused on helping families plan Disney vacations. There's a lot of good tidbits in here that will help you plan your vacation, or while you're actually at Disney, kind of get a little bit of tidbits here and there that you can really help have a better vacation. And the history part is not overwhelming, which I think is really important too, because a lot of the Disney history books that you get into are like way too deep.
Right. Like I wanted to make the little bits and blurbs that you read very digestible, just like my videos, like just trying to keep it within like a little 2-minute, 3-minute read. Like my videos are only less than 3 minutes. So we're trying to keep it within that time frame. And I will say when I was in the middle of writing this, I was much wordier. Like there were a lot of things that did not make it into the book that we had to cancel out because the editorial team and my co-author and my developmental editor, Ian, he would look over everything, and then the editorial team would be like, okay, we need to take this out for room. And then I'd be like, no, that's an important detail. And then Ian would have to grab my hand and be like, Danielle, it's really not. It's okay. We can save that for the next book. And I'm like, okay. But yeah, it was a little bit of a slow going in the first couple rounds, but then we finally got into the groove of it. And I'm really happy with how it turned out. And even like you were saying, when it comes to the planning stuff, there's some like tidbits on there of how I do the parks. And after being the local, having the big family that's been coming to Disney way too often in our lives, like we know our ways around. And I think the main thing that I even start off the book with is that the direction of which you go from Main Street to Adventureland. You don't go into Tomorrowland.
Well,
and that's fair.
And one of your things is you're talking about Ian. He's your brother-in-law, correct? So
Yes.
So was this a Thanksgiving talk that blossomed into something else, or what? How did that kind of come about?
What's kind of funny about the Dapper Kelly family is that we're all very much, I don't know, we were nicknamed the Kelly Von Traps when we were when we were younger, and like everybody in the family could do something. Dad was the sound mixing guy, of course Dad used to be a sound guy in the 80s for a local band, who knew. And then like mom could turn a shower curtain into a 1900s dress for a musical that we were in. My brother could sing, he could play like 12 different instruments. And then my sister was the manager of all of us and could argue whatever, and it was magical. So everybody had their own little thing. And so when Ian came into our lives and married my sister, he was the writer, he was the amazing like man of words, and we're just like, Ian, can you help me with my resume? He's helped actually every single Kelly family member after he's with each of our resumes. And so I was like, hey, brother-in-law, you want to help me with a book? I'll put your name on the cover. And he's like, sure, yeah, we can absolutely do that. And he's also he grew up a Disney kid also, not to the same knowledge and understanding of me, but we've done a very good job of that balancing act of, I will write the things, I will word dump all the knowledge on him, and then he will make it a little more cohesive and put my crazy squirrel thoughts together.
And like, so going back to like all of the different tidbits that you've put together in this book, does it come from your experience as a cast member or your experience in the parks, or did you study? Like, give us a little bit of insight into how you became so knowledgeable in Disney.
It's a weird culmination of all the things, actually. So some of it is from growing up as a kid, coming to Walt Disney World, and like I was gonna say my first Disney trip was when I was 4 months old.
Oh my
and we came back regularly as a family. Dapper mom and dad honeymooned in Disney World, and really they're the good Disney adults in the family that started it all. And we would come back even when we lived out of state, like 2-3 times a year on the regular, and we stayed all over property. That was such a huge blessing. We've done almost every resort on property, and I just retained little tiny like details of looking around as a kid. And then I was like, you know what? One day I'm going to be a cast member. That's my plan. I'm going to be a cast member. And I started working for the company. I was with the company for about 10 years, starting in 2012. And I really learned quickly that, oh, wow, there's a lot of, I mean, to say it nicely, old timers in my location that have been with the company for 30, 40 some odd years. Maybe I should start asking their stories. So after I got a little more comfortable in my own skin, and I was like, okay, let me go talk to these older adults. Hello, I'm just Danielle. I'm a part-timer. Tell me your entire life story. And they just would dump this amazing amount of knowledge and these experiences that they got to experience while their time working at Disney, and saying like, oh, I remember when back in this day I worked at this attraction and all this other thing. I'm like, oh, that attraction doesn't even exist anymore. So I would take the stories and those things, and they always sat in the back of my head for the longest time. And then in some of my roles, I was really blessed that I was able to pick up shifts at almost every location on property, or at least in the land of some sort. The only locations I never worked at were the Animal Kingdom resorts. And
the best ones.
I know, right? And I don't know why. Nothing against Animal Kingdom resorts. I just never got a chance to pick up a shift there. And I would try to like pay attention to their storylining, and I don't know, just paying attention to the little key details. And some of the stuff is obviously written out for us. I just think we get so caught up in the hustle and bustle of the park, of trying to get to the next attraction, that we're not taking our time to stop and look around even the smallest of details and being like, oh, wow, this is something really fun there. Does this mean anything, or does this represent anything? And I would say about 50-50, it sometimes does.
It reminds me of those the squirrel memes.
Literally,
right? Like,
my brain constantly. And like, some people can remember music, some people can remember actors. I can't. I can tell you the entire lore and history, but I will have to double check my dates and exactly who said it. But I can tell you everything else about it.
Yeah. You know, one thing that you touched on was being comfortable in your own skin there. And I think that's a good segue to one of the things I wanted to ask you about, and that's becoming a content creator.
Yeah.
And you talked a little bit about this in your book, and I know that there are a few content creators or people that want to start creating Disney content that listen to the show. Can you tell us a little bit about how, you know, that COVID period led you to start creating content? I know it changed everybody's lives, but how did you really get started, making TikToks and starting on Instagram?
Well, a lot of it was because my cast. Like I love my cast members. I still do. And many of them, my old coworkers, we're trauma bonded together. We still are in the group chat. I still go out to family dinners like once a month with them. And they're going to be at my little pre-party release for the book, and I'm so happy to have them there because I wouldn't be where I am today without them. And when the world shut down at the time, I was a coordinator, I was a trainer, I facilitated Disney Springs training for the third party operating teams. So I was already in that teaching mode. And then when everything disappeared, that was taken away from me. And that was really my outlet to be able to say all these things in my head and all this knowledge that I had. So one of my girls during one of our Zoom Tuesday night parties was like, "Hey, Danielle, there's this app called TikTok. You should like talk about your training things on there. Like just try it, see what happens." And it started off, I posted a video, got like maybe 100 views. And then all of a sudden the next one got like 1,000 views. And then it built up to like a couple thousand. I'm like, oh, maybe there's something going on here. And all of a sudden I got my first, when I started talking more about this history, everybody's like, oh, this chick kind of looks like Penelope Garcia from Criminal Minds. And so then I had Criminal Minds side come in, which it does have a huge overlap with the Disney community. And then they're just like, oh, wait, but it's Penelope Disney style. And she knows a lot. Maybe we should keep listening to her. And then now we're at the point that we're at today. And it's amazing. And it's all because my cast members and filming late nights in my car as a way to, because being in Disney Springs and being a trainer in Disney Springs, I was full time. So since they came back based off seniority, right? I was the highest in seniority and one of only 5 full-time trainers for all of Disney Springs merchandise. So in the first couple thousand cast members to return, I was considered higher priority because there was nobody to train anybody on how to wear a face mask and wash their hands. So I came back and I trained everybody with this very, very small group as people were coming back to property. And we reopened up World of Disney in that first long line and nothing else was open. And you're just trying to scream at people through a mask and a face shield. And it was, and since I was one of the only trainers, I was working really long shifts, like 11, 12-hour shifts. And a way to debrief in my car was to go into the Grapefruit Garage where all the cast members park, and took off my name tag. And at the time I wore what we called the festive black. So nobody could tell where I worked at. And I never told anybody. And I would just sit in my car and I'd say, hey, this is something great that happened in my day. This is a great interaction I had as we're returning and reopening up this world. And it just slowly built from there.
And number one, it's like, it's almost weird. Obviously we all lived through it, but it's weird to think about COVID again. It feels like it was so long ago, and like just
right?
Hearing you talk about the face shields and the masks again, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that was like not that long ago.
I was honestly talking with Dapper Mom about this, and we were talking about how maybe I need to write something, and this is an idea of a book possibly, that these stories aren't documented from when we were reopening up the world. And if anything, it needs to be written down somewhere of like when they put the hotel room lights on the Contemporary Resort and formed a heart and a hidden Mickey on Bay Lake Tower. When fireworks were returning and cast members would sit in their car outside of Speedway or in the back of Magic Kingdom parking just to get back to a sense of normalcy, because fireworks were such a normal timekeeper for us. And to have that gone for so long, we didn't know what we were doing with our lives. So to really emphasize like, hey, this was a weird turning point for us, and it's not really documented anywhere. So I feel like maybe we'll see if that comes to fruition and if that happens.
Yeah, I think that would be really interesting, because cast member perspectives, especially for us that nerd out about Disney stuff,
right?
It's always fun to hear what a cast member experience is that's different than what the normal people.
How did it change the business? What right. was the pivotal turning point? Now, some stories I definitely won't be able to tell, but it's like, what can I tell that will help bring it into perspective? And when I keep telling, like, I do sound like a broken record of like, well, this changed because of post COVID. And they're just like, Danielle, you keep saying that. I'm like, you don't understand the backside of the cast member life of how this affected everything and moving forward past it. So I think
it's also interesting to how much of it still hasn't come back. You know, we talk about like Bibbidi Boppity Boutique at Disney Springs is still
soft
not back,
spot right there. I opened that location.
Really?
Yeah. So I was
so great.
Yeah. Throwback, more Dapper Danielle lore. So once upon a time, I was a fairy godmother at the Bibbidi Boppity Boutiques, and I was part of the training and coordinator team that moved them from World of Disney into the cottage. So there's so much lore and so much storytelling, even about that location, that honestly has kind of disappeared with those trainers because they didn't return back to property. So there's nobody to train the storytelling left on that location.
I get asked about that location and why it's not open at least once a week. At least, and I'm not exaggerating. There's a video that I have about booking Bibbidi Boppity Boutique on YouTube, and I inevitably get emails from people. I can't get a reservation. I can't get a reservation. And it's so hard at Walt Disney World, but it's so easy at Disneyland. And everybody's always asking why don't they open more? Why are they not having more availability? And I mean, I'm guessing part of that is that answer, but the answer I've always just had is post-COVID, it didn't reopen, unfortunately.
Right. I mean, that's some of it. And a lot of it is because of the cosmetology and hair braiding laws in the state of Florida that changed post 2020 when people were trying to do at-home salons.
Interesting.
So some of it is legal. It actually applies to the state of Florida. And because it is an outside location and is not a ticketed entry, changes the category of how it is a salon versus not a salon. So Disney has to pay for more licensing, and Disney's not willing to do that because every single employee that touches a head of hair has to have that licensing. So
now you're making my legal mind just.
I know you're going to town on it, Matthew.
Yeah, I'm telling you, my legal mind and my Disney mind are merging, and I'm like, why did I not think about this? But I mean, It's true, and you know, there's even within Bibbidi Boppity Boutique, there's a lot of interesting little tidbits, like you know, how they check kids for lice and stuff like that is always. That kind of stuff just is fascinating to me. That's not in the book,
it's still magical, and it still has the best storytelling. And I would brag. Okay, I would brag this all the time, and I would say, your interaction with a princess is less than 3 minutes. When you have a fairy godmother at the Bibbidi Boppity Boutique, we are with your kid from 15 to 30 minutes, and we are pouring our souls into every single kid that we interact with. And it was it's not for the weak, is really what I'm saying, is that it was a really emotionally tiring job, but it was a very great time in my life.
Well, there's a reason why that's the most in demand experience at Disney. And it's because it's so special for families. You know, going back to the content creation stuff and how you got started, were you ever like anxious or nervous about putting yourself out there that way? I feel like that's what holds a lot of people back and even for us, like you know, getting on stories is still kind of like, it can be little like, you know, making a video is not always the most comfortable thing. So how did you get past that?
Honestly, I've been doing this now for 5 years. It took me probably until about 3 of those years to finally get into the niche of things and being like, okay, Danielle, we're being a little too try-hardy. Because in the very beginning, everybody goes through this. It doesn't matter who you are. Everybody does it. You're trying to find your influencer voice. And luckily for me, I had a team of cast members that would call me out if I didn't sound like me. And they were very aggressive too. So when I made my content, I was trying to, if I did it once a couple times in the very beginning, I'd be like, hi guys, welcome. And it'd be like higher pitch, more like not even my true like sales voice, like on the sales floor. And I would get a text from the group chat and be like, Danielle, who is this blonde chick in your video? And what is she doing? And I'd be like, oh, was it bad? And they're like, yeah, it was bad. Do it again. And I'm like, okay. So I was great to have that kind of response team to be like, this isn't you. What are you doing? This isn't genuine. And I realized that as I kept going, the more genuine and less self-conscious you are about yourself, the better your content will be, because you can't worry about what other people are going to say. That's why we have those keyword filters over on our social medias. Make sure if you're not, that is my biggest tip to people. Make sure your keyword filters are on. do it now. And it will help protect you, and it'll help protect your comment section, and your community will find you if they're not scared to come find you. And it's really, really great.
Oh, that's awesome.
great
And so
advice.
you parlayed creating content into becoming an author.
Mhm.
And so when did the light bulb go off that I may want to write all of this down into a book? When did that crazy click?
Well, it was always joked around with me of, Danielle, you need to make like a table book, like just do some illustrations. Cause I also do art on the side too. And like do some illustrations and put some random Disney things next to it. I'm like, do you know how exhausting that would be? Like, that's a lot. And not saying it's not in my future, but it is a lot. That would be a whole time constraint kind of thing. And so I never really thought it was going to happen. And I did not think of this originally. I will give this 100% to Adams Media and Simon & Schuster. I got an email, and my management team was looking at it, and they almost deleted it because they thought it was spam. And they're like, does this sound real? And I'm like, well, back check the email. Like, is it legit? What is legit business email? Okay, look up this person. Oh, she's on LinkedIn. No, this is a real person. And I just happened to shoot my shot back to them. I said, wait, what are you asking of me now? How does one write a book? And they're the ones that reached out to me and made this a thing. And because of the overwhelming response of my following, their Adams Media and Simon & Schuster wants to continue working with me. And it's all really because of y'all.
Yeah. I think it's awesome. And it's very, very exciting. So in the future, well, one other thing when it comes to content that I've always kind of wondered, and I know Dapper Day is obviously a thing, but for those that aren't familiar, how did the Dapper Danielle, how did your handle come about? And like, I mean, are you a huge Dapper Day girl?
I'm definitely a big Dapper Day girl. I am very much vintage aesthetic. I don't think you can really see it very well in the background of my
record player.
What?
Looks like a record.
Yeah. So and everything's organized by different genre. I got Disneyland 1950s popcorn bucket inspiration. I have Orange Bird. I have everything is very 1970s, 1960s era, very old Florida. And the things I'm starting to collect now are things from, like, actually I have one right here that I posted on a YouTube video here recently, like 1970s, early 70s merchandise from Disney. Like, I'm kind of in my grandma vintage Disney phase right now of life. And I'm turning my house into a true old Floridian home is what I'm trying to do. And so that vintage aesthetic has been with me, and that follows into Dapper Days. But the other thing was for me is that if you look up, like, in Webster's, dapper means to be neat and trim and dress in appearance. And the joke is that I never would go out of the house without, like, having my earrings on, without having some sort of a dress on. Like, I'm always usually very put together. Like, you won't usually see the Dapper Danielle in t-shirts unless it's a Fit Spirit jersey and there's like a matching aesthetic going on. And it's so that kind of tied in. It was a play off of the Dapper Dans, so it all kind of flowed in together. And I was like, hey, let me see if this is available. Now, there is another Dapper Danielle. I've actually met her. She works over at Magic Kingdom. She is a delight. But the Dapper Danielle was available, and I was able to secure it on all socials. And I was like, this speaks to me. This works. I play off of this, and it's just taken off ever since.
I feel like anytime you can hit where they're available on all socials, it's like a sign.
Oh, it was. I was able to secure the email, the website too, and I'm like, this is it. This is my persona moving on in life. Well, not that it's a persona; it is truly me. But yes,
heretofore known as, right?
Yes.
Chip, I know she mentioned the Spirit jersey, and I know you wanted to ask her about that because Chip's a Churro guy.
I am. So your Spirit jersey has to do with your motto of dreaming of churros tonight. What's the best churro in Walt Disney World and Disneyland, and what are your thoughts on the waffle, the churro waffle?
So I haven't had the churro waffle yet. I need to, though.
It's my favorite.
I know.
So.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll add it to the list of what I gotta try sooner than later. And like, there's a couple. Okay, I didn't love the churro fry things over in Disneyland. That wasn't great. But Here in Walt Disney World, I personally think the best churros are the ones that you can get either from Three Bridges Bar or Nomad Lounge, those little bite ones.
Gluten-free ones, right?
Yes, and they're the warmest, they're the freshest. They're not being made in the utilidors and then being brought up and then they're just sitting out and steaming up. That's why it literally, guys, it's the same brand that they sell in both coasts. And then the only difference is Disneyland has the carts that they can make them and heat them up right there in front of you. And that's why they taste so good. So here it is those two specific locations in Disneyland. It's the first one you can get your hands on.
That's fair. And to go back to the Spirit jersey, Danielle has her own custom Spirit jersey, which is really, really cool. I'll put a link to it in the show notes if you want to check it out. I think there's still some available. When I watched one of your videos recently about it, which was, somebody is trying to steal her design, which is not fun.
It's not fun, and it's so funny. Of like, obviously, I'm like weirdly flattered at the same time because is this a sign that you made it? Like when somebody's trying to copy your art and your design, or you completely just copying pasting over something and trying to piggyback off of it. Does this mean I made it? That somebody's trying to mimic it? That's amazing.
I think when you couple that with the week before you release a book, I think you've made it. I think that checks
sure.
the box. No, and we've had a lot of Disney small shop and just in general Disney related business owners on the podcast in the past, and I really think that's an unfortunate problem that anybody that deals with merchandise or graphic design has to deal with is people just anytime they think they can make some money, they just hitch their wagon to it,
right?
And pretend it's theirs. It's ridiculous.
See, and I feel like if it was just the churro art, I might have given them a little bit of grace. I would have maybe argued it just a little bit, but the fact that they're using it has my username on it, and I'm like, that you're putting me on there now. This has become personal
on it, right? Oh gosh. So, switching gears just a little bit, this book is about Magic Kingdom.
Yes.
Wink, wink, more to come later, maybe. And we'll look forward to that. But when it comes to Magic Kingdom, what would you say is the biggest mistake that families make coming to Disney for the first time? And I know that's a loaded question.
That is very much a loaded question because in my heart of hearts and my cast member side, it's because they don't drink water. Drink the Florida swamp water. You will survive. Yeah, goodness. I had him put in a whole segment in that in the very first area of Adventureland of like how to find water. Did you know water is free? We want to make sure you're hydrated. Like it's a thing. And so I made sure to include that into the book. But I would say the thing that most people kind of mess up is the feeling of having to do everything in the first go. If you are with little ones, and especially any kids under the age of 5, if you try to do an open to close Magic Kingdom day in the Florida heat of summer or spring break, you're not going to survive. It is going to be a miserable time. You're going to loathe that park moving forward. So you got to break it up into bite-sized pieces. And that's where even in my book, the way I kind of have it laid out, it's meant that you can look at the attractions, you can look at the history and lore, decide if you want to go on that attraction with your family, kind of base it off that, and then pick and choose your own adventure, or just do half of the park, leave, come back later, and then do the other half. Just pick up where you left off.
Yeah, and that's probably the biggest advice that we give on the podcast is not to stay in the parks the entirety of the day. I mean, it's not something that your kids can manage. And building off of that, what is the one thing that you think people need to do on their Disney vacation that they often don't? Similarly, a loaded question.
Eat.
Fair. I'm going to rant for a second here. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
So, the other day, and I was going back and forth on threads with this question. I saw an influencer say that the food at Magic Kingdom is terrible. And that's not to say that I'm saying that the food at Magic Kingdom in comparison to an outside Michelin restaurant is fantastic, but calling it terrible is like fighting words to me. So that said, what are some of your favorite places to eat, and what's your overall opinion of the food at Magic Kingdom?
I mean, I would say out of all the parks, in true honesty, yes, Magic Kingdom food is not my favorite. If I had to pick, I'm more likely running to any of the other 4 parks. But there are great little pockets of snacks depending on where you're at, and making it fabulous meal is really up to you. If you only like burgers and french fries, I'm sorry, it's the same burger and french fries that's sold throughout the entire park. So you have to be able to be willing to try and spice it up a little bit. But I would say even like sit down restaurants too. It's because you're looking at it only for the quick service locations, not for the sit down possibilities that are there. Tony's restaurant has been really upping the game. They did a fantastic job updating their menu. We had a great meal over there actually for Easter. And what was the other thing? Like Plaza Restaurant, I mean, it's simple. It's just club sandwiches and little things like that, but it gets you out of the heat. You're getting food and protein into your system. It's great. So yeah, I would say the food's okay. It's not amazing, but if you don't partake in something or you don't pack something for yourselves, hangry sets in, and you can tell. Then you can look around at these kids of like, oh, you're dehydrated. You're dehydrated and you haven't had a snack. You've only had a pretzel in the past 8 hours. You need something else.
And I think like when you look at Magic Kingdom is third to me. So I would have Animal Kingdom, then Epcot, then Magic Kingdom, and then a huge gap, and then Hollywood Studios.
Really?
So I'm not a Brown Derby lounge guy. And so the options at Hollywood Studios to me, outside of getting like tachos, are very, very limited.
Really?
Yeah. Because I mean, Backlot Express is not outstanding.
ABC Commissary?
I do love, that's where I tend to eat. So
Right.
ABC Commissary, the pork carnitas tacos is one of my favorite things to eat there. But at Magic Kingdom, you've got, especially in snacks, you've got Skipper Canteen, Tony's Plaza, the things that you mentioned. People knock Be Our Guest and Cinderella's Royal Table because they're so expensive, but the food is not bad. Yeah. It's just expensive.
See, I will say, I remember back in my day when I was first starting with the Disney company, before they switched chefs, there was like a pulled pork on top of like a mashed potatoes bowl that
that sounds amazing.
Still think about to this day. And it was so good. And then they changed the menu. I went back and tried to order, this thing's the server's like, oh my, this is almost identical to it. And I try to bite. I'm like, you lied to me, sir. This is nothing like this. So I've been bitter at them ever since, but there's some great things over at Be Our Guest, and like the team over there, they're good at their jobs. They've gone through a couple waves of menu changes, but I think what's currently there, and I believe what's still there, is pretty good. Yeah.
I miss the quick service lunch there. I miss the quick service lunch.
Don't even get me started on the quick service lunch.
It was so good.
Because of my time as a cast member, and when I got started there, we got to slow test and roll that out. So I remember when there wasn't anybody there, it was still in just the cast member testing phases. And you would go in and you go to the little kiosk, you would wait your turn, you would wait in the hallway where the armor talks to you and it's still over there talking. You would go over there, you would order your meal, you would get your enchanted rose, and you would take it back to your table, and they would come and deliver it to you. And it was a sliced steak sandwich on a baguette. And It came with these little fries that were like doused in like maybe truffle oil and Parmesan. And I've only been able to have it like twice in my life. And now people look at me like I have two heads because nobody else remembers it.
I remember it. I know what you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking
about. While you guys are thinking about that, I'm still just got the cinnamon roll just dancing in my head from Gaston's next door.
The cinnamon roll is really good.
See, and that's when like when people are like, the food's terrible, I'm sitting here thinking, I could have a cinnamon roll, I could have a funnel cake, I could have waffles with Nutella, I could be doing all these things. Egg roll, the spring rolls, like come on, the spring rolls, and then Skipper Canteen, the fried rice there is so good. And then I'm sitting here thinking, and you guys want to call it terrible? I will die on that hill, but. We're running short on time, and I've got two more things that I want to ask you about.
Yeah.
When it comes, and this one is going to be tough, similar to when people ask us, like, what's our favorite child? What's your favorite fact that you've shared? It doesn't have to be in the book. It could be coming in the future. What's your favorite fact that you know about Disney, whether you've shared it or not?
That
one
is
of those random things.
Yeah, that's like you said, it's like picking your favorite child. And there's so much, like, so many of the random Disney things feed off of each other and they build off of each other. If I had to pick one that was standalone-ish. I don't know. It really depends and changes on my mood. Oh, dang it.
Well, I'm gonna switch gears a little bit
Yeah.
to let you think about that. We've asked in the past some folks that have come on the show about their Mount Rushmore of Disney. And since your book is based on Magic Kingdom, I'm gonna ask you, what would be your Mount Rushmore for Magic Kingdom? 4 things that are either you could call them your favorite or you don't want them to ever change. They can be rides, shows, characters, food. What would be your top 4 things for the Dapper Danielle?
Gosh, I would say Country Bear Jamboree. I do love the update. I love the change of it. And I think it was something needed for the Bears to continue past their 50 years. And I love the lore of them. I love the storyline. Like you can tell I added in a lot of fun facts in the book about the Bears and about the new queue and the show and the referencing of it. I added a lot into that. Probably that one. So Country Bears, the true aesthetic and lore of Big Thunder, right? So the storytelling behind Big Thunder, the lore of Sunshine Tree Terrace and the Aloha or Sunshine Pavilion, so Tiki Room, all that cool stuff, Orange Bird related. I gotta represent my Orange Bird because that's old Florida lore, and like I'm always intrigued by the third party contracts and what went into making those possible because they were necessary for the building blocks of our parks. And I'd say my 4th thing, oh gosh, I would say 4th thing would be the story of Caribbean Plaza. Like, see, is there so, again, it's so vague, and a lot of people are going to look at these attractions and the things I mentioned and they're just going to be like, what is she talking about? Like that.
But that's why they got to read your book.
It's exactly because I mentioned, I talk about all of it in the book. And like it's one of those things of like, if you know, and once you see it once, you can't unsee it afterwards. And once you know the story behind it and you're looking at it in a different light, you're like, oh, there's a lot of thought and detail that went into this. Wow, that's amazing. Where some of the other lands just don't have that same intentionality. And I feel like Frontierland and Adventureland do have those very subtly in there.
Yeah. And that's a good segue to make sure that you read the book. Coming out May 13th. By the time this is recording, it's going to be out. And links to purchase it, I'm going to put in the show notes. So it'll be easy to find. But just in case anybody's listening and can't click a link, where's the best place for them to be able to purchase the book?
Honestly, anywhere. It's at Target. It's on Walmart's website, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, Amazon. You can get it wherever. Just search the Dapper Danielle book, or even I Love Magic Kingdom, Dapper Danielle, and it'll pop up for sure. Which is awesome and amazing. And I made sure that, like, if you were to search my it will pop up somewhere in there for you to be able to access and be able to decide. I think I finally thought of my favorite trivia fact.
Oh, let's hear it. And there'll be bonus points if it's People Mover related.
Sadly, no. But it is Country Bears related. And I talk about this in the Country Bear section, but also in Carousel of Progress. And how the Country Bear Jamboree was originally designed for Walt Disney's California Ski Lodge that never came to fruition. But it was so long in the developmental process that they scrapped it and they pulled it and pushed it to Magic Kingdom because it was already flushed out. It was already in the developmental stages far enough to bring it and to continue Walt's legacy, because that project got canceled for many reasons, but also Walt never got to see that. And he was so excited about the Bear Show. And I go into the weepy sob story about it in the book, but it was supposed to be called Mineral King Ski Resort. And in the new show, oh my gosh, I'm blanking on his name here for a second, but he's dressed as Bert right now. He plays the fiddle in the show. Henry, the MC Bear, comes out and introduces him that he used to play with the Mineral Kings, is a reference to Mineral King Ski Resort. And then over in Carousel of Progress, in the end scene, this is also in the book, the kids in the Christmas scene that's been updated, the son is wearing a ski jacket with the original logo that was supposed to be for Mineral King Ski Resort. And it's based off the concept art and the rough sketch drawings, and they put it on an actual shirt, and I want it in a physical piece of merchandise, and Disney merchandise hasn't made it for me yet.
Is that the kind of example of something that comes from lore from other cast members, or a combination of you doing a little bit of research? Like, how in the world would you get that? Like, I'm sitting here thinking, I don't even know where you couldn't Google that information. Maybe you could.
I mean,
Outside of finding it in your book, like, where would you get that?
You would just have to know your history. So when, because I love country bears and I knew all the history about the Mineral King Ski Resort, and I did my research about that. When I went and I saw the show on opening day for the first time for the new version, and they're looking at all these things, I was able to point out, oh my goodness, this is a reference to this. Oh my goodness, Shaker's dressed as Wally Bogue. Like, this is amazing. This is a great crossover. But then when I heard him say it, I was the only one. So picture like third row, Dapper Danielle. Everybody else is just watching. And they're just like, oh, the bears are so cute. And then Henryson says, he used to play with the Mineral Kings. I went, out loud. And everybody was looking around and they're just like, what the heck is wrong with this chick? I'm like, you don't understand the lore. This is what he's referencing. And I can't go into all that because we're in the middle of the show. So some of it is just being open-minded to read the details, to think back and go back into the back archives of your mind and being like, okay, does this tie into a history piece? And then some of it is being that awkward person on Carousel of Progress and using your 5x zoom to be able to look in at a logo to see if that's what it really is or not. So.
And every time that people knock Imagineering now, you can point to some of these things that people don't even realize how much detail goes into a lot of it. It's just amazing. Danielle, thank you so much for coming on the show.
We appreciate it.
It was a great time. We hope you enjoyed yourself. Best of luck in the book, and we'll see you guys in the parks.
See you when we see ya.
Thank you. Wait, should I sign us off with my thing?
Oh, yeah.
Do it.
So until next time, night, sleep tight, dream of churros tonight.